Aloha everyone, Kai Lenny here. I'm at my boardroom here on Maui, just about 15 miles away from Pe'ahi, also known as Jaws. And today I'm going to be doing a breakdown on the last big day out there. It's been a good start to the winter. We've had two pretty decent swells. This last one was big. It was west, it was rough, it was bumpy. I opted to tow and surf, and ultimately my goal was to do a brand new trick that I've been working on. So yeah, let's get started. It was first thing in the morning. I was dropping in, and I really was eager to do a trick. So of course I had to try a backside 360 chop hop. And when I did that, all of a sudden I was aiming down the line going, I'm either going to get the biggest barrel of my life or I'm going to get pounded. And there's sort of a moment where you see that wall and you know the writing's on the table where you're not going to make it. And you might just absolutely get destroyed. So in this moment, I knew I messed up. I basically was way too deep, and when I was straightening out, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how did I put myself in this mess? And underwater, it's just like getting ragdolled so bad. Basically, it feels like you've gotten hit by, a semi-truck and 10 guys with crowbars come out and beat you senseless. So this is a little bit wider angle from the drone. You could just see I was just a little too deep, and first wave of the morning, it was 6 a.m., and I just wore that thing on my head. I'm kind of lucky that they even got the shot of this because it was so early. But being underwater while it was still kind of dark before the sun really came out, it definitely doesn't feel super comfortable. But so basically I popped up. You could kind of see me on the right side of the screen, and here's Ola, going around. You just saw my board on the right hand of the screen. He's basically rushing around to get me. He was the first rescue, and he missed me because I came up late. I was under for a while. So my brother Rich, who towed me in, came in. Now, he's coming in at perfect timing. You see there's a huge gap between the next whitewater and where I was, and he did a great job. We're running these new Sea-Doos, which are 300 horsepower, dual impellers. They changed the game for us in big waves, actually. And you can see right here, I was so eager not to lose my board. I basically jumped straight on it, hoping that I could really hang on to it and not let it go on the rocks. Because that board's actually been on the rocks already, been destroyed, nose and tail ripped off, but got it fixed by KT Surfing and repainted it because it was a good board. Ola came around. So we have a pretty good sequence of when the drivers should come in. Ola's first safety if I fall, then Ridge would be second because he towed me in. And if someone misses me, they'll go basically right back around and kind of loop in an oval shape. It's super important to maintain order and not start just rushing off of emotions and feelings because things can go wrong really quick. And yeah, I have lost jet skis out there before. But with these new Sea-Doos, I don't even think it's possible because, they're so good in the whitewater and they give you a lot of confidence and you don't find yourself as in many gnarly situations. And so right here we are just regrouping. I'm just describing what it was like to see a huge wave land on my head. I don't know, that wave might have been 50 or 60 feet tall. And there's just a little regroup. I'm deflating my inflation vest, and that inflation vest is basically what keeps me coming up to the surface. So it's like taking an elevator versus the stairs. You just got to switch out cartridges. We actually have 4. I should actually grab that thing and show you guys. But anyway, the sun finally came out and looked like Lord of the Rings out there. The place was just beautiful. And immediately I went back out. So it was a good reset. Didn't lose the board. Kind of had some confidence because I knew I could handle wiping out. And this was probably my favorite wave of that morning because it was really steep. And right after I did this top turn, I just felt like I was going terminal velocity. And my board and fin, everything just held together. And yeah, it was a glorious morning. It felt insane and nearly landed on my coach Scott right there. He was driving his ski and that was a close call. But later on, the waves slowed up a lot because when it's really west, there's a lot of islands that sort of block the swell traveling down the island chain. And right here, my brother's driving me. He's my main tow partner and he's done a great job. And essentially we were last in line here, so we were sitting inside of everybody, and I just told him, hey, just get me onto some, fun, smaller waves just to warm up and maybe do some tricks. Right here, it's really west, and I was looking for a chop, and yeah, immediately been working on this front flip. It was the first time I actually ever tried it out of Jaws, and clearly I over-rotated and got a little extended. Needed to grab or something to have more control. But, the consequences of that is when you do something like that, you end up finding yourself in a compromised situation because you're right where the peak is. And, being a paddle surfer and being out there for last, 17 years, you tend to want to try to not get caught inside. Whereas on a tow board, it's once you go out the back, you're basically, not paddling that board very quick. And as you can see right here, I'm trying to get to my tow board. Ola's coming in to try to get me. Another surfer's dropping. He opts to kick out because there's too much going on. I basically wanted to push this board over the top and not lose it, and I suffered the consequences. I just got stuck straight over the falls. And in that moment when you're going over backwards, it's just absolutely terrifying. I really wanted to save my board because I didn't want it to go on the rocks, and I should have probably just let it go over the falls, and I probably wouldn't have. But you can see I popped up pretty quick, but not enough time for the skis to really get to me. I actually was fully inflated. I was right next to my board somehow, and I deflated so I could punch through this one because I didn't really feel like getting sucked over the falls again. One of the water safety team comes in and grabs me, picks me up, and at this point it's like, okay, just get to my board. I don't want to lose it. After going through all of that, I really can't lose it now. And here Daniel's pointing at the board, and we're not even looking behind us. I'm kind of dizzy. I'm like, just get the board. And then pretty soon we both realize that, I might not have. There's no way I'm holding it through this next wave, and I guess I'm just getting punished here. This wave actually kind of knocked some sense back into me. Luckily, the board, as you can see, it didn't really get dragged that far. I got pretty ragdolled. It was a short hold down, but it was kind of like just getting ran over really fast. And board was still in a survival position, so luckily there was a little bit more time between the two waves, and it didn't travel too far. And my brother was a good enough driver. He could put me right next to that, and I could grab the straps. But in this moment, I'm obviously a little bit tired, but I'm frustrated because I want to land the dang front flip. And I'm not going to let it end my day right there. And, when you're underwater, it's just such a ragdoll experience. As you can see here, this is like, some of the things that could happen. Later on, I, got picked up by Ola after nearly losing my board again, trying to front flip. And we almost lost a ski there. But, it was all worth it because later on, I landed a front flip. But in my quest to find the perfect chop to actually flip, I got closed out on. And so I got worked again. And, it's just kind of the price you pay for trying to learn something new that's never been done before in big waves. And this one actually dragged me pretty far. I don't even know. Oh, there, I popped up on the left hand of the screen. And I was already super stoked, though, because I was like, I made it. But then, again, I'm like having to take bomb waves on the head. And this time I ducked under earlier at the trough of the wave and was able to punch through. Otherwise, I would have gotten sucked over and pounded again. And by this time of the day, obviously, I was pretty tired. There's a lot of exhaustion that goes into, or comes out of these giant wipeouts. But I had a goal, and it was to do this front flip. And yeah, damn, I'm super stoked I did. Here's another wipeout. It's just like, sometimes it's so frustrating. You just want to make the darn thing. And I think this was the first one I actually made. I landed up high and really had to sort of pump my board and realized I was too far on the left to go right. So I decided to go left. Actually, no, this was my second one. And I was like not going right if it was closing out. And I was kind of racing against all these big chops and thought about doing another flip right here. But at this point, you're right in front of the cliff. And if you do fall here, your board will go on the rocks and you probably as well. So figured I got away with that and I might as well, just go left and kick out. But yeah, this was an up-close version of my front flip. Felt good, got to the bottom. I was like, oh, okay, well, it was worth it. Here you can see I'm pulling my vest. So I pull it because it takes about 3 seconds to activate. And at that point, it'll fully inflate by the time you get underwater. Because if you inflate the vest when you're way underwater, you can end up getting pressed lower kind of towards Davy Jones' locker. But yeah, this flip trick is so much fun. I really want to dial it in where I could actually do it at will on any chop. I feel like it's probably 80-20 right now. 80% of the time I could make it. 20% I'll probably cop some punishment. but you know, that rotation just feels so natural when you have the right chop. You need a really steep chop. And it's kind of a trick that I learned from, you know, kite surfing. Kite surfing has been a great way for me to like learn these maneuvers. And for kiting, this is the most simple maneuver. But to do it with a 15-pound tow board, going, you know, 40 miles an hour at times, it's takes some convincing of yourself, because you are moving on a wave that's going really fast as well. And yeah, after you get pounded a few times, the obvious reaction is, I don't want to get worked anymore. So I'm gonna actually show you the board I was using. Here it is. This board weighs about 15 pounds. It is 16 3/4, about 2 inches thick. I was actually riding it as a quad. You can see I kind of have a little, you know, cover for this center fin, because you can ride this as a thruster. But yeah, I thought the quad was good for getting that little snap off of a chop. So yeah, it was a super fun day. I'm excited for the next one. My sinuses kind of hurt because I was full of water for a couple of those sessions. So that was kind of all my wipeouts on Black Friday. Hopefully the next time I go out there and I'm doing front flips down waves, it's maybe at the end of doing a huge carve, or, you know, it's just on a steeper part of wave. This is only the beginning, and it's really fun to utilize those chops that normally are annoying because you have to go through them, and you might as well just jump them like you see snowboarders do in the backcountry. Thanks for watching, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun to be out there riding big waves, and I can't wait for the next session to come up. It's early in the winter. It's only December, and January is typically the biggest month for big wave riding here in Hawaii. And hopefully I can hop on a plane and go somewhere else and ride some really large waves on some type of craft. All right, see you next time. Aloha.